Welcome back to the Shadow Realm, everybody. This is Pack Fresh Northwest, where the pools are always mint. I'm Zakari Murphy. This is our homeboy Brandon in the background, who put all this together, and we are here to give you more content about deck profiles, markets, shoes, anything that you could ever desire in your nerdy lifestyle. But today we have a special treat. We're going over Swordsoul, the second in our deck profile series. A lot of hype behind this deck. A lot of people are interested just because its interactions, how it combos, how it goes off, while setting a pretty extremely aggressive board with high monsters to get over, while also negating and taking away options for your opponent. But yeah, with that said, let's get right into it. Just starting off, guys, playing the main engine, the main starter monster entire deck in my personal first card in deck because it's water. If you know anything about me, I love water monsters. You want 3 of the Moye. This is non-negotiable. Main starter deck, main initiator. Pretty much with this, as soon as you summon it, automatically get a token, link that off to the, not link, synchro that off to the 8. It would be your Xiangjian, search for your another Swordsoul. Usually you want a Long Yun, which comes up next. You pop that out. You special summon him at the reveal, synchro him for a 10, get your Baron or the Grandmaster, and at that point you're building up your deck, you're building up your field and just getting ready to go off. Also, if you're playing against this deck, this is the main monster you want to stop or interact with, be it with your Forbidden Droplets, Infinite Permanence, Gamma, Ash Blossom, whatever. This is the card because if the person piloting that doesn't play it correctly, this could be a huge stopgap and they're just stuck with a level 4 monster on the field unless they know how to properly recycle, which I'll talk to you more about later. Alright, after that, another non-negotiable, you want 3 Long Yun. And kind of what I mentioned before, he's in your hand, you reveal another Swordsoul Wyrm monster, which is great because we have Tenyi, so you don't always need the Swordsoul. Just summon him to the field, link, synchro off to your 10. Again, Xiangjian or a Grandmaster, and again, just builds your field as well as burns your opponent for 1200. So again, kind of just sets up their disadvantage. You constantly gain more advantage and negates. He's at 3. This is kind of non-negotiable because you always want him and Moye similar, or him and a Tai within range of one another because they just combo so well. Now with that, the final 3 of which is non-negotiable is Eclasia. Aside from the absolutely stunning artwork and lore behind it, this card is pivotal because I like to say, you'll hear me say this a lot on the channel, I like to use this as a bait. Shout out to Bait Seattle, hopefully they mess with us in the future. But pretty much if you summon this, then tribute it, it just launches a Swordsoul monster from your deck, or Albaz, which we'll get into later, especially hint we'll do a Despia Albaz core later down the road, and pretty much that just launches dead. And then you could go off into your combos where it be a Moye, Tai, or any of the other Swordsouls, which you probably won't play. Those are the main 2 you'll play. And usually if they stop this and you're stuck with this on the field, voila, you still could go off on your other combos, either take a Moye back from the graveyard, do a Tai, special summon any other way because they already used their Ash Blossom or Gamma to already block this, and you still could go off. But non-negotiable 3. Sorry, it's kind of expensive, but it's kind of, you definitely need her in the deck. Now we're getting to the 2 of Tai. Some people Tai depends on how you want to say it. Some people play 2, some people play 1, some people play 3. I highly advise 2. He's a great card. Again, if your Moye goes down, this is your next best level 4 for a normal summon or even a special summon, because all you need to do is banish any Swordsoul or Wyrm monsters Swordsoul card. Here's what some people don't even think about this effect. You could banish Blackout or Emergence and get their bonus effects, as well as like activate his effect to get your token 4 and 4. The token I believe is water. Yep, water token. He's wind, get your Baxia, and now there's 2. And now that gets rid of 2 cards on the field and you can return to the owner's decks. But yeah, so I'll always use him for Baxia. Great card if your Moye goes down, or if your Incredible Enclasia gets messed up, you can always bring him back, take him over, and yeah, just a overall great card. I love him in the deck. He's pretty live often, and he's a great backup option. Now, again, something you should know about me is I play decks to be fun, not necessarily the most competitive variant. So again, there's that old saying in one of the Pokemon games, I forget, I think it's the very first one, where it's like there was one particular Elite Four member that was like, use the Pokemon that you like, not necessarily the Pokemon that you think will win, and that's the philosophy I play. I play the cards that I personally like, either because of the artwork, the story, or just how the card interactions, and also sometimes it messes up the opponent because they only think of a deck work a particular type of way. With that said, Iris Swordsoul, great lore, great picture. Again, it catches people off guard because anytime any monster's effects are negated, which you have plenty of negates within this deck, and also any of your monsters, they also might be negated by their effects, be it droplets or so forth. This special summons itself, and then it gets affected. They special summon from the hand, deck, or extra deck. You get an effect, be it draw 2 cards, pop a card, or special summon. So as great as a one of, you could search. It catches people off guard, and it kind of limits their special summon options because it kind of has these triple tactical talents effects that kind of just throws your opponents off and interrupts their game plan. And there's nothing wrong with just having one in the deck just as kind of a spice that catches people off guard. Now that's the Swordsoul core. Let's get into the other half of core Tenyis. Usually Tenyis aren't very competitive on their own, but the great thing about this deck, since it's all worms, you don't get the negative drawbacks of, oh, you can't special summon, or you can't attack with any monsters that's not a worm, because they're worms as well. And they just have great synergy with the deck, especially if you need a backup, if someone puts the halt to your Moye or Tenyi or anything like that. So with that said, I love 3 Ashuna, just because amazing effect, presence on the field. For those of you that don't know, all the Tenyi monsters, pretty much you don't have an effect monster, special summon, usually in defense mode. Again, huge defensive wall. You could then link it off into your shaman. Then immediately when he goes to graveyard, if you really want to, you could banish it and then catapult the next Tenyi monster from your deck. Usually it'll be a Vishuda, which I'll talk about next. And then it just starts your engine, starts your train as you decide to build up your advantage, take away advantage with your opponent, as well as get other options which you could link off into different monsters or synchro off into different monsters. So yeah, 3 of those. And usually half the time when you banish and then catapult a monster from your deck, is going to be these Vishuda. I personally play 2. I've seen people go up to 3. 3 is perfectly viable, but you also might as well do 3 Ahara as well as 3 monks in your extra deck if you do that method. Again, you kind of have to trim back a little bit on the Swordsoul engine if you choose that. It just depends on your play style. But Vishuda, you banish it after it gets into the graveyard, or even banish it from the field if you want to do it that way. And it pretty much just takes any monster, gets rid of it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So again, setting up your own advantage while taking away advantage from your opponent. That's one of the ideas of this deck, and limiting its options. So 2 of those are great. These are the OTS pack variants. Very pretty super. I always like to go for the super if I can. 2 at Hara, level 1 tuner, sets up monsters. You could. This is if you see here, this is 7, 1 + 7, 8. Go back to your Baxia, go back into your Chizao, or that starts your combo all over again. But yeah, and pretty much similar thing. Some of this, get to the graveyard, banish it. Once you have a monk on the field, once it's banished, its effect is you get to kind of recycle any other banished monster, so that'll be a good chance to get a shooter back or a Shuna back and just kind of keep it going, because this is a lot of advantage and it kind of always helps. Just keep your options open. Now with that said, our last worm monster that's not a Tenyi is Arch Nemesis Protos. Great monster, basically banish, I think, let me actually not lie to y'all. Yeah, just banish 3 different worms of different attributes. Really easy in this deck. You got earth, you got wind, you got water, you got fire. So yeah, and then once you special summon, just pick any attribute you want, and that just shuts it off from your opponent. If you want to shut down Phantom Knights, pick Dark. If you want to shut down like Virtual World or Drytron, just probably pick Light, and just so forth with all these different decks. Can't shut down Flunderies because they don't special summon, they only normal summon, but in that case, if they were special summoning, you would pick Wind. But yeah, very good card, we very recommend, just as a one-of, very strong, and could just completely kind of add a control element to your deck. Now we're getting to the hand traps. That kind of, I'll explain later why you want these. 3 Effect Veiler, again, pretty common, staple, everyone knows what it does. Main phase, get rid of effects. You want 2 Ash Blossoms. Secret Rare Ash Blossom, my favorite version. These, and that's the Legend of Kaiba. Just love those two, so I have 2 of them. And basically, you want these in the deck as targets for your cross-out designators, as well. Again, take advantage from your opponent, kind of frustrate them while going off on your turn. And again, they're both tuners. This is a synchro deck, so even if they're graveyard, you can bounce them back with a Boxia, still have advantage. The Roto deck, Swordsoul Emergence, 3 of. Pick any card you need, especially if you draw kind of a dead hand. As long as you have this, you can get your 1 central piece, start off, as well as when it's banished, you get to modulate, increase or decrease the levels of your monsters, which are great and pivotal in synchro. 3 Vessel, if you're playing 3 of each of the Tenyi, this is an absolute 3 of. If not, you could bump this down to 2 or even 1, depending on how you want to use it. And again, if you have a non-effect Wyrm monster, aka your Monk of the Tenyi, it lets you put a card from your deck to your graveyard, and then add another one to your hand. So again, as soon as it's in graveyard and that Monk continues on the field, you go into the effect of a shooter at hard, Ashuna, banish, pop back, special summon, whatever, as well as have 1 more in your hand that you can actually special summon, make another monk, or even go for the shaman, or set up a synchro, whatever you want. 1 of Sacred Summon, just a monster reborn for a Swordsoul. Kind of, you could cut this if you want for additional hand trap or bump up another number. I just like 1 of, it's searchable, and again, you could banish it for Taiyei or Grandmaster, not Grandmaster, Strategist Long Yoing, so always cool. Here's where it gets spiciest deck. A bunch of people don't like this card. I personally love it for heroes as well as Swordsoul or any combo heavy deck, because nothing messes up heroes, and Swordsoul is messing with the Moye, messing with the Taiyei, and just completely shutting us down. This prevents that, because that's why I play those 2 ashes and those 3 effect veilers. Just send them to the graveyard. As this effect, they can't play them for the rest of the turn, completely shut it down, and voila. And now you get to go pretty much free. Quick play, play it on your opponent's turn or your turn. Spell speed, really hard to beat. Love it, don't cut it. Just to get to your combo pieces, 3 Pot of Desires, the original print. This is my favorite style of the print. And well, Collector's 10, but still my favorite over the secrets. So this one, you already know, banish 10. You don't really care about banishing. In this deck, you have 3 of everything anyway. Draw 2 cards, and even if they Ash Blossom, it was still worth the risk, because you're not really losing too much, and you can always re-up. So I like those are 3. Gold Sart, just for to put the blackout or the emergence in the grave, and banish gives additional effect, as well as I get a potential great card in 2 turns from now. That's why people play 1 of these. They don't really explain why, but that's why. Blackout, Icarus attack for Swordsoul, get rid of 1 of yours, pop 2 cards on their field. Really great. And if you banish it, you get your own token. So again, if you banish it for the Taiyei or banish it for any of your other Swordsoul monsters, you get an extra token to go into a possibly bigger monster. And finally, 2 Infinite Permanents, self-explanatory, great hand trap, probably the best one in meta right now, as well as cross-out designator targets. And now just wrapping up, I mentioned I personally like the Tenyi monsters because sometimes I get them and then I might run through all my monks and I still don't have nothing to go, so I go with 3 Monk of the Tenyi. Some people do 2. I prefer 3, especially if I ever want to side out and bumping up to 3 of each of the Tenyi monsters. They're always live. That's how you get the extra effects. Great. And of course, if you play Shaman, you get the extra advantage of just automatically destroying and popping a monster on your opponent's field. With that said, Shaman, sometimes you can link off 2 of your Tenyis for this, or a Tenyi and an unused one of your Tenyi Spirit Dragons. Again, if your non-effect Wyrm attacks automatically pop one monster in the field. Also, you can discard a card, then special summon a card from your graveyard. That's a Wyrm monster, so you can literally just special summon the monster you discarded, or special summon or send one of your Tenyi spirits, get their effect in the graveyard to banish, as well as like get back one of your Swordsoul monsters, because again, they are Wyrms. So great card, running deck, one of pretty much always viable. We're getting to the Swordsouls, kind of self-explanatory too. Chizao, again, this sets up your combo. As soon as you summon here, you get to search another Swordsoul, be that Long Yon or Moye, depending on what card you get first. Again, it also has a negate, and when it's just, and yeah, pretty much, I have nothing to say about this card. Just beater, strong monster, great. Need 2 of, because sometimes the one will unfortunately falter, they'll get rid of it.
They don't gotta be fancy.
Yeah, ain't nothing, keep it simple. Supreme Sovereign, Xiangjian, he's the other 10 you're going to besides Baron. I usually always offer Baron. This is a very situation. This is why it's kind of a one of. And again, it just gains attack from the more you banish. Again, if you play Pot of Desires, as well as you're banishing for Tai's effect, it's a boost to him. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Banish one card from your graveyard instead. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. Not to be disrespectful, but it's like most people never ever play this card, but it's a good one to have. Strong monster, strong effect, especially if you need to just attack or something, and it just sometimes catches people off guard if they're completely expecting the Baron to fluid. Berserker of the Tenyi, again, strong one. Activate some. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you could banish it. It is attacking. Card destroys effect monster and sends it to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to destroy monster. So again, kind of a beater, as well as kind of just keeping advantage back in your hand. Even though this is a combo deck, there's still an element of control to it with your effect monsters are keeping things back on your side. And I like it, again, level 8, so you can go into it easy, depending on the situation. Phantom of the Yanxing, Chao Feng. Again, another one of these situation cards. Why not play it? It's a Wyrm. It's a 9, so honestly, sometimes you'll get this if you want to go down from a 10 using your emergence in your graveyard, or if you want to go up from an 8 to a 9. So again, this is a situation depending on what you want, and again, kind of just depends on your individual play style. If you want to cut a monster in your extra deck, you could cut this for another Baxia or whatever, but it's just cool to go into for the surprise level 9. Yazi, Evil, Yangzing can't really be affected by card effects. You'll ignore his first effect, but when it's destroyed by battle card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get the special summon one Wyrm type. So again, put him out there. If he's destroyed, voila, you automatically just get one of your Swordsoul. And notice how it says by card effect, so it could even technically be by one of your card effects, depending on which cards you're playing. And yeah, so you only need one of him. This card's a little bit more for debate. Baxia, a bunch of people play 2. I never really get to 2. I really just get the 1. Oh, also shout out for the Ultimate Rares, the original prints. Always, max rarity, when you can. Baxia, great for the Tai, since you have 2 attributes. Spin 2 of the cards, as well as like he's a recycler, so you could destroy one card on your field, send it to the graveyard, and then automatically you get a level 3 back, level 4 or lower back, be it the Tai, the Moye, or even like Ash Blossom if you want to go for another synchro play or something like that, or Effect Veiler, more likely because it's level 1. But again, great card. Can't stress enough. You could probably cut out for a second one of these, but I just don't personally ever go into a second one. One is more than enough for me. Getting toward the end, Crimson Blade, this is just for the mirror play, honestly. And again, just great artwork. This is the original secret. Destroys the opponent's monster by battle and sends to the graveyard. Your opponent cannot normal summon special summon level 5 monsters during their next turn. So again, if you're going against Swordsoul, all they do is play level 5 monsters. They don't really use links. So this again cuts them off from their monsters, their Baron, they flew, and so forth. Adamant's Pacer, easily level 8 negate, not too free. No frills, 3,000, 2,200, so even if it has effects negated, it can still attack over most monsters in the modern game. Rudy Rose, kind of a spicy tech. This really messes with some decks because you can just summon him, banish everything in the graveyard. Some people use the graveyard as a resource in the second hand. If you get rid of that, or even get rid of monsters who effects activate in the graveyard, well, kind of like a DD Crow, messes with them. Great card, great attack, love it, and just beautiful. And finally, the big boss of the monster. If you go into a 10, it's always going to be this one. Baron at Fluor. We all know what it does. Once per turn, target one monster in the field, destroy it. Also, it has a negate. And also, you can target one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard. Return this card to the extra deck if you do special summon them on, so it can replace itself after you burn its effects. And again, you play nothing but high level monsters, so it's just a free hit in any monster you want to tag out to catch your opponent by surprise after they outlive its usefulness, or you fear that they're going to blow it up or use it against you. So yeah, that pretty much covers the deck. And yeah, we're at our time for right now. So again, if you rate Rate, comment, subscribe. Let us know what y'all want to see because we try to cater to you and give you the people what they want. But yeah, it was great hearing from y'all and see y'all next time in the Shadow Realm. Pass turn.